Give it to me like.
Welcome to Cocktails for Breakfast. I'm your host, Bailey.
I'm your host, Sophie.
And
What are you talking
today
about?
we're talking about working moms. And a big shout out to Notion Studios for hooking us up with our great set.
And to SOS Save Our Souls for styling us today. I'm really loving this suit.
We left with a lot of clothing too.
We did.
Heck yeah. So yeah, we're going to dive in about working moms. And I think we're just going to let it fly.
Working moms. Honestly, I have been working this entire time. And obviously, even blah, 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 blah. Shoo, shoo. Working moms. I mean, I love to work. I don't know about you.
I think in my head, when I get overwhelmed and flustered, I immediately go like, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom. I really don't like doing this. But then when I really think about the reality, like that would never happen. I'm too busy of a body. I would get into trouble, pick up a lot of hobbies. I'm not too sure. But when I'm doing work I love, it doesn't feel like work, as cliche as that sounds.
Yeah, we were just talking about that yesterday, actually, when we were driving to Peterborough. We were talking about what that meant. I've been working since I've been 16 years old, 15 years old.
What was your first job?
Huh?
What was your first job?
I was actually my uncle's a photographer back home, and I was at the reception. I really liked that job. And it just showed me that, I could really do anything. And through high school too, I just was talking to so many people. And I remember my aunt being a nurse, and I was like, you know what, that fits what I would love to do with my life. So I just went for it. And then I had children. And then all of a sudden, not my values changed, but the way I wanted to spend my time changed. And what it meant to be a woman in the workforce, and especially as an entrepreneur, I think looks different sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Well, I'd like to add that my first job was at Tim Hortons. I could never make a coffee right, so I didn't last there very long.
Here we are.
Right, here we are.
Bailey will not make you coffee ever, okay?
Everyone knows that when they come over.
Yes, true.
Okay, so, I love the flexibility. You know what? I've been fired from like every job I've had.
Because how you went from flexibility to like, I've been fired, guys.
But
why do you think?
I get fired because I want my flexibility. So I become an awful employee. Like, you don't want to hire this. But I am hardworking, and I do love to work. And now that I have children, so I started working before I had children by myself. Mm-hmm. So I left doing hair, started doing real estate.
Yeah.
It was like, no, I don't really like this either. I'm on people's clock way too much. Then I went back to hair. And then I obviously picked up with you in network marketing. I was like, hey, this fits all my boxes.
Yeah.
This was having my second child. So for me, it's being able to pick them up, drop them off. Being able to not miss a soccer game or whatever sports they're eventually going to get into. And being that stay-at-home mom, but still being able to have something for me. So I like being able to wear both hats, I guess is what I'm saying. I like both hats. Yeah. I couldn't pick. It'd be too hard.
It would be too hard. Yeah. And the whole point here is that as a mom too, I think that some moms put either I have to be a mom or I have to like totally be consumed by my work. And you don't have to like separate both of them. And that's why, and for me personally, when I was working in healthcare, I felt like that's what I was doing. I was, separating both, and they weren't merging. And the fact too that, like you said, the network marketing job checked all those boxes, but at least you were conscious of those boxes. And I feel like a lot of women sometimes either they're starting in entrepreneurship or they haven't yet, but they kind of want to, but they don't want to say it out loud. And it's giving them permission too. Like, that's what we do all the time. These conversations, we have them all the time with women, whether in network marketing or people that just, are contemplating completely switching their jobs or completely going back home or completely leaving home to go back into the workforce because they want to. And I feel like that's another thing where people can get like shamed into, or, you know, I think that it's such a huge piece. And I feel that it's kind of like our responsibility as two women that are doing both,
Mm-hmm.
to put it out there and give these women like permission to do
I love
both,
that.
you know?
Giving you permission. And there's just so many ways to earn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's just endless ways. So I think what I see a lot when it comes to working moms is that you lose yourself. Because obviously you need to go to work.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it's the only time we get our social time.
Yeah.
Which is why Sophie and I love events.
Yes.
And we love networking with people. If not, we're working from home. And that's kind of boring to be by yourself. Although we need the time to recoup.
Yeah.
But you know, things that I hear a lot is just like, I don't have time. They don't have time to pour into themselves, mind, body, soul. You know, even for myself, like this year's all about me getting back to feeling good and healthy and strong, because when you are career focused, something has to suffer. And for moms, you're going to play, or even women in general, like you're going to give yourself up as tribute first.
That's right.
And you're always going to put your kids and your family and the household stuff first. So I think, you know, there is never going to be balance. I think that's something you and I both agree on, but there's going to be flow. There's going to be harmony, and it's figuring out what that is for you. Like, you dictating it is, I think that's the one reasons I love being an entrepreneur, is because I get to dictate how I want to wake up every day and the flow that fits me. And that's why I kept getting fired from things, because I was like, this is not working for me.
Yeah.
I was trying to fit into a box that I just could not possibly fit into.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I just
love
couldn't.
that.
And I accepted that. Am I a hot mess mom? Yes. Do I give my kids cold McDonald's fry? You know I do. Like, on a platter.
But that's okay, and that's the
Right?
thing.
Lucky Charms for breakfast. It's
Big
just
time.
It's one of those things where it's just balance. You know, you can't do it all. And I think we get caught up in this thing of just like, I need to be a provider. We get tossed into this masculine role, especially nowadays, where it's like, I got to be that provider. I got to excel at my work. I got to look good. I got to be there for my partner. Got to be the super mom. Got to make the stuff. And it's exhausting as F.
Yeah, it's exhausting. And the reality is, guys, is that you have to really get in touch with your values here, and to figure out, like, what do you actually, like, in the perfect world, not that the perfect world exists, but it can be a driven force to figuring out what kind of work you want to do. What are those boxes? That's the key thing here, is what are those boxes? And you can do it all, quote unquote. You're going to have to make little mini sacrifices here, but at the end of the day, I remember, like, I have been told so many different things. Why are you going this type of business? You're supposed to be on mat leave. What does that mean? Does that mean that while I'm on mat leave, I'm not supposed to have, you know, drive, goals, things that I want to accomplish, help people? What does that mean, being on mat leave? So I'm trading the time that somebody sometimes, or I would say, like, your typical mat leave day. Say, for example, you put the baby down for a nap, and they say you should nap at the same time. Yeah, that's cool too. Or when you're running around cleaning the house while the baby's napping, I'm doing that for a little bit, but I'm sitting down on my desk and I'm working my business. I've traded those times for, like, nurturing my business. And I think that nurturing your family and being that like mother role model to your children, and, you know, the way that you want to parent, stuff like that, can go together with, you know, being an entrepreneur or working the job that you want to be, a career woman. Like, I don't think any one of those have to suffer. And like you said, we've talked about the quest for balance so much, because it's actually a topic that's being brought up to us all the time with our team, with other people in this type of business, is how do you do it all?
We don't.
And that's the thing. It's like, there is no balance. You are going to burn yourself out seeking that balance. And that's a big one. What does that look like for you? What does balance even mean? I mean,
I just think everyone has seasons. Like, right
Yes,
now,
yeah.
I'm in a season. My kids are both in school. right? Like I just in this new season, I feel I'm coming into my later 30s.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm entering this new season and I feel so empowered. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know what works for me. Like I'm feeling so good about it. And I think, same with yourself. Like, you have younger children than I do, but everything's is just a season. And I think we also have to accept that sometimes we're just in this season, but it's a season, especially if you're a new mom. Like when I became a mom, I found that really hard. The second I was like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
But the first, it really knocked me on my ass. It felt immense pressure to perform.
Yes.
I was not in my feminine, nurturing quality. I went right to work. Like, I just felt like the pressure of everything. And I've learned over the years now, Knox will be 9 in October.
Yeah.
Just how to let that go.
Yeah.
Find harmony.
Yeah.
And know that I'm always in a new season of my life. Like, it's never what 2 years ago looked like isn't the same.
No.
When I first had my first, everything looks completely different now. And so now I just get excited and I try not to be that hard on myself. Like, there's still a fort right now in my kitchen. It's driving me mental. I can even visualize it right now. I'm like, I got to take it down. Got to take it down. But why? Who cares? No one cares. The kids are going to be upset if I take it down.
Yeah.
So it's just, being in that season and just letting go of the pressure you definitely are putting on yourself.
Yeah.
No one else is. Maybe your spouse or, your parents at one time were putting, we pick up our habits. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But it's really about just like letting that go and just saying, this works for me. This isn't working for me right now. And you know what? It is not final.
It's not final.
Yeah. And having kids, like when I grew up, like what I always heard was like, it was kids or career.
Yeah.
And I knew right away I didn't want that, but sometimes I went too far the opposite, where it was like to career.
Yeah.
Just because of that childhood image I have in my head, let's say, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
But it's also just like growing through those growing pains.
Yeah. And I think that we're just figuring it all out. We're trying to anyways, as individuals and as mothers too. And you got to be patient with yourself, mama. You have to be forgiving of everything. And also the fact that, like you said, like, you don't put that so much pressure on yourselves. And I know it's hard sometimes, especially when your kids are very young or you have your first child and you're in that postpartum era. But I'm telling you right now, be patient. Actually talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend that just had a baby.
Oh, I love that.
Because that's a big one. I think sometimes we're really good at giving that gentle reminder, or to talk to your best friend that just had a baby and say, you know what, you like, you'll figure it out. It's all good and all the things. But then it happens to you and you're not even that forgiving. And I think that's a huge piece. Be forgiving towards yourself and be gentle towards yourself. And also, your goals that you want in life that are not in relation with your family are still valid. I think that a lot of moms, sometimes they suppress their dreams, their goals and stuff like that. And you know what comes with that when it's not even entertained is resentment. Resentment in your marriage, resentment towards your children, towards your family, whatever it may be. And then that's not cool, So I much rather do the motherhood, the family life, the wife, the children, and my career. But I do think they intertwine. And there's some seasons, like you said, that we went ham with our business. We tackled it because that was the momentum of that time. And now we're approaching it a little bit differently. But we were like very forgiving through those periods because we did learn a lot through that process.
Yeah, and I think it just also goes back, like Sophie knows, I'm big into, especially now, the masculine and feminine and just learning how to do your business. If you're feeling like, okay, girls, maybe you do network marketing or you're an entrepreneur and you just feel like you're always hammering it out. And you're like, this sounds great what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But how do I get there? And it's really about being in flow and in tune with what is working for you at home, in your business, and how you want it, because you are the creator, not only of your business, but your life.
Yep.
So you can execute. No one's telling you have to do A, you have to do B, you have to do C. Those are your own perception and limitations on how you want to see your day to day. So I think by just kind of trying to be back into your feminine self of going with the flow. You know it's going to work out. You're showing up. You're doing the work. Things have to get done, yes, but there's nothing wrong with saying that was a season. Now I'm entering a new one. Wow, what's it going to look like? What have I learned from my past seasons that I can implement in this season? So it's a more smooth harmony, go with the flow. If you're that person, like I'm not, ask Sophie. I really like to have like my 5 years planned out. But I've had to learn that that's exhausting. It's exhausting not only for me, but everyone around me suffers. So just leaning back.
That's true.
Leaning into it.
Leaning into it. And then like at the end of the day, it kind of comes into a portion of gratitude. I'm super grateful. I'm super grateful that like we have each other to bounce those ideas off and navigate through what it means to work as a mom, because I think that's important too. And you are the sum of the people that you hang around with. And sometimes that positive energy bleeds into everybody else. And I think that's key in whatever you want to do when it comes to your career, and really nurturing those friendships, because those are the ones that are going to take you far, and vice versa. You're just,
you girls got to have friends. Like,
you do.
Even if you only have two, and you got to make sure it's, carve out that time for yourself. Let your man watch the damn baby.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Watch the baby. Mama's going out tonight.
Yeah.
Everyone will be happier. You got to feel like yourself. Get back into your groove.
Yeah.
Maybe you felt like you've lost yourself over the past little bit. It's so important to pour into yourself.
And stop thinking you have to have it all figured out. My gosh, that is honestly, that would take all the energy like out of me. It's something that I think will, till the end of time, we're going to talk about is how to like, and this is another topic we can get into, but like breastfeeding, formula, and all the things. I had a conversation with one of my friends this morning, and she's like, why do we care so much? That's a whole other topic. I'm not going to get into it, but like it's that shaming aspect too. And
there's so much,
this is
there's
your
more
life.
There's more voices to be heard. Usually we just go to our
That's
tribe.
That's right. But
and
now with everything, with social media,
now you're
and
inundated with everybody's opinion that you can't even form your own.
You can't even form your own.
No.
Right?
Too much whiplash.
So when it comes to working, guys, like, you got this, and you just talk to your friends and family and husband about it, and figure out what you want from your career. Figure out what you want from your mom life, and see, don't keep looking for that balance, because I do think that balance does not exist. We're just flowing through it. We're just trying to figure ourselves out through it. And once you take that pressure off, it's liberating.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everything's better. The family life, the career, everything kind of like works out. So what do you feel like you are on this side? Do you feel like you're always looking for the balance? Or you feel like you're more like flowing through and figuring it out? That's a good question to ask yourself.
Yeah. I like that. I love when you're coming up with these questions.
I know, because I'm like, I would have liked somebody to ask me that back in the day. So thank you for watching our episode today.
Give it to me like.
Okay, so if you enjoyed this episode, you want to hear other things, I'd love for you to like, comment, and share, and tag a hoe. You know?